All right. How are we feeling? Ready?
I'm going to take this horse to the Old Town Road.
Oh, man. Wait, hold on. We never got the follow-up the next day. How did it play out? Did you like it? Did she like it? What's going on?
What? Oh, the remix?
Yeah, because we weren't listening to it while we were there, so...
Oh, yeah. The remix is great. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
I would say, although I don't know that I like Billy Ray Cyrus that much particularly, but the remix is still a good song, and he delivers it in the same kind of cadence, except that because he sounds more country or whatever, I guess it's okay. I thought it was a good dig at them having him on the track and him just being like, I can say the same stuff and it's okay for me. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that he was willing to do it.
Yeah.
Totally got him. We Were Gamers returns. It's episode 151, the Palindrome edition.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Or we should just call this We Were Gamers X Disney.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's all we really want to talk about after this.
We did spend a sizable amount of time at Disney this past weekend.
Not just that, but we were all in the same place.
As a unit, yeah.
We forgot to take an Instagram.
That's true, we did forget.
There's no proof, no photo, didn't happen. We did do some Disney this weekend with our, oh my god, they're all wives.
Yeah.
Partners. Wow.
Started from the bottom, now we here.
We had to take the horse to the Old Town Road. I don't know. I'm trying to...
He's like...
It doesn't work.
Trying to work it in there.
Doesn't work.
Okay.
It does not work at all.
I just didn't realize that until now. I knew it.
It's been great.
Yes. That was wonderful. It was a wonderful trip out. I hope you guys had a good time. Let's talk about that Guardians of the Galaxy ride for a second.
Yeah. I had never been on it in this incarnation of the ride. Right? I had been on it when it was the Hollywood Tower of Terror.
Correct. Same.
Twilight Zone themed thing. And it's this big kind of, I don't know, it's a giant building, tall shaped, and then they lift you up to the top and drop you. Ostensibly.
It wasn't like we were being dropped. I felt like we were being shot downward.
It was more like less dropping and more like they threw you up and down a bunch of times for an unclear number, like length of time.
I will really need to do it again. Michael, you've been on it multiple times.
Yes, I have.
You mentioned that the music changes the ride. However, does the music also change what's on the screen, or is that always the same show?
I want to say that there are small variations. I don't think it's exactly the same every time. The gist of it is mostly the same, but I think that there are a couple of small scenes that are slightly different.
Okay. I would like to go on it again with different music, because I feel like my body is still going up and down.
I was just going to say, would it even matter what was on the screen? Can you remember? I was too busy holding on because I felt like I was flying out of my seat.
Yeah, for sure. That was fun.
It was fun.
How did California Adventure live up to expectations, considering you hadn't been in a while? Now it's basically Pixar Park, which is what it always should have been.
It was very good. I had been on some of the stuff before, like the roller coaster was still the roller coaster. Like, as much as they rebranded it Incredibles or whatever, it's still just a roller coaster.
It's just reskinned.
Yeah. And that's very fun. The Ferris wheel is great. I had a good time. That Cars ride is actually really fun. I would say, besides Space Mountain, that was maybe my favorite ride of the whole weekend.
So, important question. Did your car win?
We went on it twice, and we won once and lost once.
Okay.
It's important.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're all winners here on this podcast, no matter how things turn out, unless you're playing Sekiro, maybe?
Well, that's unfortunate for me. I am playing that game.
Do you feel like a winner often in that game, or more like not a winner?
So it's weird because like when you play those Dark Souls-y, Bloodborne-y type games, they're a lot about small progress or like learning till eventually when you conquer the thing at the end.
Right, yeah.
And the problem is that I have like really low, like I have low tolerance for constantly making no progress, but as long as I'm making some tiny amount of progress, it's okay, right?
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, I learned what that animation looks like when he does this attack. Yeah, that's something.
Okay.
If I walk into the battle and just die immediately over and over and over again and learn nothing, that sucks. And so far, there has not been that much of that. There has been some of that, and that's usually when I turn the game off.
But you always feel like the grind has a purpose.
Yeah.
I watched John Lovett, who's a political commentator, but also a gamer on the side, but a very casual gamer trying that game this weekend. I watched a lot of his stream, and he was trying to fight Lady Butterfly, I think was her name.
Oh, yeah. I eventually conquered that boss just before this weekend.
I could see the frustration mounting and hear it in his voice and realize, I don't know if that's the game for me. I don't know if I would find solace in just like beating my head against the wall. I love puzzle games where, oh, okay, well, I had to try it 2 or 3 times. Like, you know, sometimes that Mario and Rabbids game felt like that, where it was, oh, okay, now I get it. Like, I have to bounce this guy over there, otherwise I'm never going to finish this level.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. But those are cerebral problems rather than Twitch memory issues.
So I think the difference here is that, yes, the game comes at you really quick, right? The attacks fly quickly. You know, you are going to have to get very good if you want to play defensively. But you don't have to play defensively. You have a lot of attacks in that game, and it doesn't seem like it since you just have a sword and then your various prosthetic ninja tools. But you can do a lot with just those things. There's multiple ninja tools you can equip, and you can cycle through them. Your sword has a bunch of different strikes that you can use. I early on happened into a very cool combat art, which is sort of like you have to hit both block and attack to trigger it, and it's sort of like can do like a special move, sort of, that ended up doing really good damage to her and also kind of like made her stagger a little bit. And as soon as you can get them, you know, kind of in a loop or a pattern or something, you can kind of just like keep on them, you know? And I found very quickly like a little pattern. I could use this art and then she would kind of stagger. And like I got into a rhythm very quickly with that particular boss. And I was like, okay, I know what to do now. Now I just need to learn, oh, she's going to do the one really big attack that does this thing, or she's going to do the butterfly summon or whatever. And so, like, you know, yeah, it transitions to the second phase of the fight or whatever, the next port, and then I have to learn a whole bunch of new stuff, and I die immediately because you didn't know that was going to happen.
Right.
But
and then you have to do however many minutes over again, and that's kind of just like, woof.
Sure, but at that point, I had died like 50 times on the first part, and I like knew what to do. So then it was just execution, right? It's like, okay, I can do this. You get to the second part again, you see a couple things, you get that, and then you know, you can. Your combat loop still works. You just then have to look out for this other new stuff.
Right.
So, you know, maybe I was lucky finding that combat loop early on that like I found an attack that could hit her well and kind of kept her off balance so that I was on the offensive rather than her. You know, and in general, I feel like rushing in and kind of like getting up in people's faces and getting offensive in that game has helped me a lot rather than trying to be like the cool ultimate ninja guy who blocks every Shuriken and sword attack or whatever and then kills them in one hit.
Right.
Getting in there and slashing at them does a lot of work. Or, you know, throwing fire or using firecrackers or spears or whatever other stuff.
I think people tend to try and play defensively when they hear that it's it's Souls-like game. You know, they think, oh, my HP, there's no way that it'll be salvageable.
And that's very true. It isn't salvageable. Which paradoxically leads you to be like, well, I got to play more defensive, and then I have to block, and then you lose your HP faster, and then you can't, and it kind of traps you in that rhythm. But, you know, getting on the other foot, you know, it's like the boss wants to do its thing, but I don't care what their thing is. I want to do my thing, and my thing is to use this sword real good in your face. And I will say I let out an audible cheer when I finally stabbed that butterfly lady in the face real good at the end. It was great. I was very happy.
Hopefully it wasn't too late.
It was late, not too late.
Wake up the house. It's good. I love those moments. Okay, I can feel it.
But it does have its own kind of feel, and it definitely can't play it like Dark Souls or those Dark Souls games. Maybe more like Bloodborne. I don't know. I didn't play that one, but if I tried to play this like I have played Dark Souls 1 through 3, I would lose. Or maybe there's more items later in the game that give you more ability to once you get more health upgrades and stuff. Maybe you can handle tanking the damage a little better. But personally, I just find getting in there and trying to find some attacks that will work, or spaces to find attacks between their attacks, is what works best for me. A lot of dodging and then attacking.
One thing that did strike me when I was watching that Lady Butterfly fight and a couple other things that he was playing through was I knew the aesthetic. You see it online, right, Michael, is like the samurai aesthetic, the very classic feudal Japan type look.
Yeah, cherry trees.
Oh, yeah. You got it. You know it.
I know what you're talking about.
But that Lady Butterfly fight takes place under a burning building.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look up, I mean, it's literally, roiling fire above you. I don't remember when I've watched people play Souls or Bloodborne or other ones. Those are dingy environments and not very fun to look at. I mean, this one definitely looks more like a game you'd enjoy the look of playing.
The environments so far have been surprisingly varied, considering it's supposed to take place all in kind of like one imaginary country or whatever. And like you say, that fight under the burning temple is very cool. There's the bosses in general have sort of had interesting arenas, for lack of a better word. They're not really arenas, but you get my meaning. Areas where you fight the bosses.
Right.
Fight one out on the middle of a big battlefield covered with bodies and broken attacking forces and dead people and siege equipment and stuff like that. You fight that one under the burning temple. So it's been pretty cool so far. Really a lot of just trial and error, though, for sure.
Nice.
Just like, okay, I'm going to try this. I got this attack. I'm going to see if it goes. And then literally every time I try this on each of their moves, they just either counter it or they have, some kind of, I don't get enough of a window to get anything going. And then you're like, well, all right, I'm dead. I learned I can't do this.
It sounds like the comment is very momentum driven, right? If you can get the momentum early, you're fighting downhill.
Yeah, that's definitely a good way to think about it. If you are, who is in control of the pace of the fight? It's like, I found success by taking it, putting it in my favor and building up that momentum.
Yeah.
Speaking of feudal style stories, and I think we can lead off the news, because there's a lot of news. I don't know if you guys feel like I feel overwhelmed with news.
Say
a little bit.
A lot of stuff happens, so it's good to have stuff to talk about here in the rad zone.
Ooh.
Bring it back.
I love it. I love the news zone is the rad zone. That's better. The news zone sounds sucky. The rad zone sounds like Game of Thrones is coming back next week.
Yeah.
Ooh. Feudal, get it? See, Sekiro, Game of Thrones. Also hard on people. People die a lot.
Very true.
I think that for the next week, I'm just going to be thinking of things to do to keep me busy until watching this show. Michael, you haven't caught up on this or no?
No. So my wife has watched, I believe, the first season. And when it first came out, I wanted to wait until I had powered my way through, not necessarily all of the books, although I have read them all now, but a good chunk of the books. And it just sort of got to the point of, well, there's no sense in starting it now, however many seasons in it will, and then having to wait, as opposed to just waiting for all of it to come out and then watching through it all at once.
How do you avoid spoilers, man?
Yeah, seriously.
You blinders and earmuffs.
Okay.
basically social media blackout for the day after an episode airs, and then, news cycle being what it is,
right.
24 hours go by and people are on to the next thing.
Right. That makes sense. Moves on pretty quickly. Okay.
That we are hotly anticipating it over here as well.
I don't know how we're not going to talk about it on the podcast. We're going to have to work our way through this. Because I have a feeling it's going to be an emotional ride.
Maybe. I mean, I hope that it is. Gosh.
Yeah. It's going to be hard not to watch. Just talk about it on the podcast. All right. Let's get into some real news. Ubisoft is a game maker.
Yeah.
They like stuff that I've liked to play, including Starlink Battle for Atlas, which they've decided they're not going to make toys for anymore. Shocker.
Yeah, I have felt for a while like the toy video game accessory market has been getting kind of saturated.
Were you actually surprised by this, or was this like a not actually surprised shock?
Completely unsurprised shock when the Nintendo Direct a few weeks ago announced that they were bringing new Starlink Battle to Atlas content to the Switch with Star Fox stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning the game didn't sell except for on the Switch because they had a Star Fox toy that came with it.
Which, yes, was also my impression of the game.
I had an initial thought of like, ooh, I can run out and grab all those for cheap. And then I thought, but why?
Good thinking.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, Amiibo seems like it's still going strong, but other than that, is there, somebody said, I think the Skylanders might be coming back. Is there a toys market still on this stuff? I just don't see it.
I don't own any Amiibos, so I'm certainly not the one to ask about this, but I feel like that whole like toys game market, Skylanders went away because it wasn't doing really the numbers. Was it Activision was looking for?
Yes.
Activision
is Skylanders.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, Activision, one of the big publishers, if they can't make one of these games work, Nintendo, who has more beloved characters than Activision does.
Disney dropped their version, too.
Right, yeah. They canceled theirs first, right?
Yep.
I mean, gosh, if Disney can't do it.
Yeah, right.
I thought it was interesting to bring this style game back because this had all been dead before Starlink came out. And it was like, okay, well, we're going to have limited things and these huge, like almost model quality ships. And they definitely sold people on the Star Fox one because that was the first R-Wing that I ever remember seeing. Like a little toy R-Wing of. They sure couldn't keep it alive beyond that. So I wonder if that means that after that Nintendo update with the more Star Fox stuff, it's kind of a dead game at that point.
Do you think they're hurt by making toys that aren't toys? Right, you have this cool R-Wing, but it's not something that you can just hand your kid to play with the way they would play with like their trucks. Because you need it. You need it for the game, and they can't smash it up.
The Skylanders kind of were like that, though. They were kind of big, plasticky, action figure-y type stuff. At least in my memory, they are.
I think they are. Yeah. I think the Starlink R-Wing actually transforms into a tank. Maybe I'm wrong.
There's a game where it does that.
Definitely does that in the game. I'm trying to think of it. I might not, but I'm trying to think. To me, looking at it, it looks like those Micro Machine style models, where they weren't.
Yeah. Yep.
They weren't quite toys, but they could definitely be toys if you were gentle-ish with them.
Toys for slightly older kids.
Yeah. You're probably right. All those things are probably hurt by the fact that they're not toys, including Amiibos.
Yeah.
They're shelf toys. They're not play toys, and you're definitely right.
I sort of feel like Amiibos are hurt in the same way that basically at this point, the people going after them are the collectors mostly, and
adults.
I don't hear adults and people collecting them, and not too many people are out there going like, man, I really want an Amiibo.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have a market kind of like, Funko Pops or those kind of things. And they're like, we're going after this and we're just going to hang out here.
Wow.
The game stuff is like completely on the side or like irrelevant.
Speaking of irrelevant, Sega, maker of fine remixes of Sonic games.
Hey, Sonic Mania was well received.
Sonic Mania was well received. I have played it, and it reminds you that Sonic games are hard because you have no idea where you're going unless you look up guides. But, I mean, right? Like, do I go up? Do I go down? Do I go left?
Play it over and over and just memorize the right route.
I just remember being stuck in that casino stage till the end of time.
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
Yep. Dude, I don't think maybe we've mentioned it briefly, but they're making a Genesis Mini. Just like the other 9,000 other minis from Sony and Nintendo have done. 40 games.
It's a lot.
40, yeah.
Yeah.
Available in September. They haven't released all the US games, but Sonic, Gunstar Heroes, Castlevania, Shining Force, Doctor...
Wait, which Castlevania was on the Genesis? Is that Bloodlines?
Castlevania Adventure... no, it's just the first one, I think. Just regular.
The first one was on the NES.
Yeah, I think it's a port. I don't think it's...
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
Dr. Robotnik, Echo the Dolphin, Toe Jam and Earl, Space Harrier 2, Altered Beast, Comic Zone are the few that they've released that they said are going to be on the US machine.
Toe Jam and Earl is a good game.
Sure. It's a great game. I have 2 questions about this. One, it comes with a 3-button controller, not a 6-button controller. Why?
Ooh.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, that feels right in step with releasing the PlayStation without the joysticks, but go on.
With a 40-game system, I don't think they're looking at releasing a Sega Genesis Mini 2, where you get the 6-button controller.
Right.
And I'm not buying a Genesis Mini and then buying different controllers for it.
Certainly not.
Second question, Sega Genesis Classics is a title you can go buy right now for the Nintendo Switch, which is only missing, of the list that are the 10 games right there, Castlevania and Echo the Dolphin. All the rest of those games are on the Switch version of that.
I was just going to say that I think Sega has done a pretty good job in general of porting their classic library to various platforms.
Everywhere.
A lot of them
Steam.
are on Steam and the Epic Store, or not Epic Store, but like Origin and a lot of places. You can get those games pretty easily. If you want to play Streets of Rage 2, you can.
So bad controller. I think you can get Castlevania on the Switch in summer when they bring out the Castlevania Anniversary Collection.
Still waiting to hear what those last couple Castlevanias in that collection are.
Who cares? You're going to buy it, so am I.
Not if they don't include Soten, I'm not.
You think they wouldn't include Soten?
It's not announced yet. They announced Castlevanias 1 through 4, not Soten. Sorry, they didn't even announce Castlevania 2. It's Castlevania Original, Castlevania 3, Super Castlevania 4, and like one of the GBA Castlevanias. No, sorry, not GBA. One of the Game Boy Castlevanias, which was cool because that hasn't been up anywhere else before.
Well,
anyway,
cool.
So who knows? Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be. But if I'm not buying it if it's not in there.
Well, we've got 4 more slots there, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So Rondo of Blood,
Rondo, so that's 5.
Soten,
6.
There's a bunch of other Castlevania games. I don't know what you picked.
I mean, you could go out at that point and do one of the GBA ones.
Sure. Or the 3DS ones that came later.
Those were good. I did play through those.
So, there's a lot of choices. There's also more classic ones. There was I think Bloodlines is the one that came out on either the Saturn or the Genesis or something that really hasn't been re-released too many other times. That would be a good one just because it's been hard to get.
Given the age of the first 4 games announced for that, I have to imagine it's going to be a collection of all older style stuff, and then they could do, this is the modern collection later when it's all the 3DS stuff. And
sure, which would then push Soten onto that more modern one and maybe end this one with Rondo or Dracula X or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I'm on the fence about that particular one.
Castlevania 2 is pretty good as far as I remember.
Simon's Quest is legendarily bad.
No, Belmont's Revenge.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. That's the one that's on here.
Yeah, the good Castlevania 2.
Yeah. Okay.
As good as any of those old Castlevania games are.
So I think we're all not on board with a Sega Genesis Mini, even though it looks super cool.
Yeah, that 3-button controller is...
I think people that buy that are looking to complete their shelf collection of mini consoles.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
All right. Who's next?
I have a fun article here about speedrunning. And I don't know if you folks saw this, but there was a insanely difficult Doom record that was finally beaten just recently around the end of September.
So I just saw this headline, but I didn't get to open it up. So I'm glad that you brought this up because I want to know what the record is.
Done the research. So this is a speedrun record in the original Doom for Hangar, which is, I don't know, is it the first level? It's very early. The speedrun for that game, the fastest time anyone ever beat it was 9 seconds from the in-game counter. And
what?
So, there's some stuff. The level is pretty straightforward if you know where you're going.
Okay.
You can kind of just run straight through it. Doom has a lot of interesting things in it. I don't know how much you have seen from these old FPS speedruns, but Doom tracks your momentum in an interesting way in that when you press forward on the keyboard, it gives your character kind of a bit of momentum in the forward direction. But if you press the strafe key, it gives you momentum in the sideways direction. Now, I don't know if you guys know how physics works, but vectors, and if you do forward and sideways at the same time, those two thrusts add together, and you now have a bigger forward momentum in a diagonal direction, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of people running slightly diagonally in order to go faster. However, that's not the end of it, because your side strafe momentum is capped in original Doom at some specific number. I think they call it 40.
40?
Yeah. It's like there's a term for it. It's like strafe run 40 or something that they call it. I don't remember the exact terms. There's a really great video and article on Kotaku for people who want to read it. The video is like 20 minutes long and explains exactly everything about this. But basically, combining these two movements, you can get up to this 40 movement speed while strafe running. Well, there's a way to break that 40 cap on your strafe, because your forward speed is 50, but your strafe speed is 40, so that was always kind of the limiting factor there. By doing a different method of strafing, you can break that cap and get a 50 on your strafe. But it requires you to press 4 buttons at the same time, essentially.
Oh, no.
And so, as a consequence, doing that movement is really tough because you have to hit all these buttons simultaneously to get the movement to work the way you want. And then that means, if you get touched or hit, you also are unable to, steer while doing this sort of movement. So this record was set in 1998 by a guy whose name I have forgotten. Great.
Unimportant.
Doing real good here. But he said it in September 1998, and Doom, as you play it, records all your key impresses so that you can play back essentially what is like an old demo of your input. And Doom,
that's a really nice feature for speedrunners.
Yeah. So it is guaranteed that if you have that demo that original guy recorded, this is exactly what he did.
So could you use that to make a robot do this better?
A taskbot? Yeah,
like a taskbot?
Oh, 100%. And I'm sure the TAS of this game is insanely fast. But the TAS also has access to as many inputs every frame as it can. All this has been done by an actual human.
Okay.
But the thing that's tricky about this is Doom's in-game clock, which is what they use to count the speedrun records, is... it always rounds down. So if you get 9.99 or 9.91 seconds, you get a 9. So to beat this record, you have to get 8.91.
Wow.
And that obviously is very difficult when the level is only 9 seconds long. So someone very finally relies on a whole bunch of stuff with this speedrunner named For Shock Blast. Was finally able to do it, and it was really a competition between these two people, For Shock Blast and this other guy, Liquid, who were able to master this technique of running the level when there are no enemies, so that they could then try the technique in a level where there are enemies. Because it also relies on getting specific damage boosts to push you forward at just the right time, so that you can get there. The optimal speed run through the level with no enemies or whatever can be faster because it doesn't have to worry about getting hit. And if you get hit, you get pushed the wrong way. And now, this is literally the fastest, like almost frame perfect way to get through this level for a human. I haven't seen a TAS. I don't know if TASs would be faster, but this person literally finished at 8.91, which is 1 frame below 9 seconds.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah. Very, very cool. The video that Kotaku has on there explains why it's so interesting. It was very interesting. And just the amount of practice. Like, they've been working on getting this to work since like 2017. That's how long. It's like 50,000 attempts or something this person has had to do in order to get it. So just really impressive overall.
I applaud people with that much patience. 50,000 times is just...
Yeah, speaking of spinning your wheels and not feeling like you're going
gosh.
anywhere.
I mean, that's beyond a Sekiro run. That's...
Oh, yeah. Way. Because it's not just that. The enemies move with RNG, like random movement. So if you just happen to walk into an enemy, you've lost 1 frame. That's it. You touch a wall, your momentum stops. That's it. You clip a corner. That's it. You don't open the door exactly the right way. That's it. And you only get, the whole thing is less than 9 seconds. So this is a very tiny amount of time. It has to be just perfect.
Yeah, but at least it means you're not dumping a whole lot of time into any one run. And then, you don't get 3 hours into your run and then make one small mistake that loses you the record.
That is true.
Hold on.
It's 9 seconds and then you hit
9
reset.
times 50,000 divided by 60. 7. That would be minutes divided by 60. 125 hours.
Spread across multiple years, and also the fact that this person had to be insanely lucky in order to get this to work at all. So,
wow,
very cool. I thought that was a fun little trip down. You really learn some stuff about the way Doom works at like a really, really technical level.
Yeah, I've watched a Doom speedrun at a GDQ one year, and you get some really interesting insights from the guys on the couch.
Yeah,
and they can use this sort of like strafe run technique to jump over ledges that should be impassable. You can get past doors and do all kinds of weird stuff because you're moving much faster than the game expects you to be able to. And so you can clear ledges and jumps that should be impossible otherwise.
Michael?
So I have 2. One that's actually
nice.
One that's actually news, and one that is, let's say, news adjacent.
I had 2 also, so we're all cheating today.
Okay.
JJ, go find a second one.
Oh no.
I'm just kidding.
So you guys are familiar with Humble Bundle, I know.
Mm-hmm.
True.
So I don't know how much you know, because I didn't know a whole lot about it, about Humble Monthly.
A little bit. I've seen that it existed and that you basically subscribe to giving them money and then you get a bunch of stuff.
Right. So they give you for $12 a month, you get access to an early unlock title, and then you get a bunch of mystery games at the end of the month. I think you get 9 total in the bundle.
So I subscribed to this one time way back because I wanted to play, I think, XCOM 2. they had it as one of their humble monthly, the early unlock, basically. And I was like, you know what? $12 for this game is way cheaper than it's selling right now.
Yep.
And I don't think I played any of the other games.
So, as I understand it, they ordinarily do an indie title or something smaller, just as sort of a tease for the first game, and then everything else drops at the end of the month. Well, this month, they have changed gears and are apparently trying something a little bit different.
Uh-oh.
The unlock game to start the month is Assassin's Creed Origins.
Okay.
Wow.
Which is currently on Steam for $60.
It has been on sale for like down as low as 40, I think, but getting it for 12 is a lot less.
Yep.
And you get Steam keys, or how does that work through Humble Monthly?
Well,
JJ, do you recall how Humble does their...
So you should check the fine print, because they will give you the game somehow. You're not guaranteed to get it the way you want it.
Mail you a DVD.
No,
set.
well, I don't think they do that. But most of the games I've gotten through them give Steam keys, but some have just given you...
No, it says right here, near closer to the bottom of the page, add them to your Steam library and play on PC.
Bam.
I would still be careful. I bet some of them are going to give you Uplay keys.
Oh, no.
Which, another launcher. But actually, it's dumb anyway, because the Steam ones all launch the Uplay launcher anyway, so I don't know that you're really saving anything there.
Yeah.
But it is, you will get, so there's a few smaller games I've gotten from them that have been direct downloads from them, or like, here, just download this executable for this tiny little game.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority of them were Steam keys. I may have gotten like one Uplay key for like Far Cry Blood Dragon or something way, way back. But yeah, it's generally been that. People have been wondering when they're going to start giving Epic Store keys instead.
That's a good joke.
Hey. Not a joke. People are wondering.
Oh, no.
But because it's all mystery stuff, you can never know, right?
Yeah.
So it's just going to be, hey, you're going to get some stuff. You're going to get it somewhere. I don't know. Deal.
You don't know until you know, and at that point...
Yeah, and by the time they reveal what all the other games were, you can no longer buy the previous one.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that makes sense, though.
That's a heck of a deal.
So that was one. Two was presented to me in the form of a bet between two friends.
Uh-oh.
And I thought it would be an interesting topic of discussion for us. It fits right in with our interests on the pod here. So one of the things that was in the news in this past week was that tickets went on sale for a small budget indie film.
I'm guessing you mean Shape of Water 2.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I hadn't seen the first one, but I doubt that there's room for a second one of those.
There's not.
So Avengers Endgame is coming.
Yeah, Avengers Endgame is coming.
Which you are probably more excited for than Game of Thrones. But I have to admit that while I'm very curious to see that film, I've invested many more hours maybe in the Game of Thrones series.
Really, though? I don't know. There's a lot of those Marvel movies. How many did you see?
Yeah, but most of them are short, dude. They're Disney Marvel films they got longer towards this segment and area of them, but a lot of them started out at, an hour 30, hour 40.
Yeah, the first Iron Man's not that long.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Whereas all the episodes of this season of Game of Thrones are an hour 30.
Yeah, but before that, they were like an hour or 50 minutes.
Yeah. But there's 7 seasons of it.
There are 22 Marvel movies.
Have you seen all of them, though?
I haven't, but I feel like the less accomplished movie seeker of this pod, but maybe I'm wrong.
I feel like maybe we all skipped that Ultron one.
No, I saw that one.
Nope, saw that.
Also, that one was like 2.5 hours, which honestly it should not have been.
I know we've all seen Thor 2, even though we shouldn't have.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah. I have not seen the new Ant-Man.
I think I have seen all of the mainline ones.
I saw that new Ant-Man. I think it's on Netflix.
The new Ant-Man is, yeah.
You should watch that.
What do you mean by mainline ones? There's 22.
Well, I'm not counting like Deadpool.
That doesn't count anyway.
Yeah, Deadpool's not in the MCU.
Sure.
Yet, I guess?
Yet, yeah.
Yeah, I guess the new Tom Holland Spider-Mans count. Those are not mainline. The TV shows. You probably haven't seen all the TV.
No.
Yeah. None of those matter anyway.
I haven't seen any of the TV, basically, and I'm pretty happy with that.
The promise of the one that was on ABC for a while, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that came out as a slur. Slurred word, not a slur. I don't know what. Oh, boy. Okay.
So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a show on ABC with Coulson, right. But it wasn't Coulson, but it was Coulson, but now it isn't Coulson, etc. Because Coulson was supposed to be dead, and they had a bunch of people from the movies stop by and do appearances, including Sam Jackson and what's her name from How I Met Your Mother, who's a great actress. I just can't remember her name off the top of my head.
Kobe Smulders.
There you go. Yeah, that one. I apologize to her because she deserves her name said.
She's dust now. Spoilers, I guess?
A little late there, buddy. You could just say that for everybody. You know, it's not spoilers if you just say it for everyone and nobody really knows. Although Marvel has already done spoilers themselves. I don't know if you saw this. They're doing the press tour now for this thing, and they did a huge Q&A the other day, and they left open a bunch of chairs and for the people that are dead.
Yep.
So if they weren't at that Q&A, you already knew they got snapped.
Well, the posters before that, the Avenge the Fallen posters.
Yeah, it's like telling
the ones
you
that are the ones that are in black and white are all the people who are gone.
So if Marvel's already out there spoiling it, I guess we can't do spoilers, right? That doesn't count.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. The promise of that show, back to that, was that then you would see stuff that might be at least it was always like, okay, well, they can't do stuff in the movies that people won't get, but maybe there'll be references, or there were never any references or anything, or like any characters popped up. You know, there's no like B-list characters that popped up in the background from the shows, so that bummed me out, and that got me kind of away from trying to track through all that stuff like Legion and all those other things that have since popped up. Except for,
it turns out that their plan for the cinematic universe didn't involve TV.
What do you know? All right.
Sorry.
All right. Let's get back to the bet. What's the bet?
That.
So here was the thought experiment, and it was the loser had to buy a movie ticket for the winner.
Oh, boy.
The first Infinity Wars movie, its opening weekend, it had a domestic gross of $257 million.
U.S. or worldwide?
U.S. Domestic.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Sorry. The bet was, would the new movie break 300?
Opening weekend?
Yes.
No way.
I will say that Captain Marvel made a lot of money very recently. I don't know if it hit that kind of opening weekend number, but the Avengers Infinity War was a very hyped movie at the time when it came out. It made a lot. This feels, at least in terms of like the fandom or whatever, more hyped. So, I don't know. Maybe that's a really high number.
$50 million is a lot of extra people that, if you didn't see the first one, you're not going to go see the second one probably in the theater.
Yeah, but you could have said that about any of the Avengers movies at this point.
I mean,
right?
I didn't even see it opening weekend.
Yeah, I don't think I did either.
I waited until the old man price showed up. So no. 279.
Okay, gonna put a number on it.
Bam.
Yeah, I feel like 300. That would be a record, right? If it hit 300,
it would be a major record, I would believe.
I feel like that would be like a best all-time.
I'm pretty sure they own the highest. That is the highest, I think.
Yeah, so I don't know if it'll hit that, but it's definitely going to put up big numbers. And yeah, like maybe north of 250 or something. I don't know, but 300 seems really high. Watch, we're all proven wrong, and it's like 8 million or 800 million or something.
Yeah, what I wasn't factoring in when I was trying to think it through was the fact that it's a lot longer than the last movie. So unless you're adding a bunch of screens, you're just not going to be able to show it as many times.
Sure, I think they've said this one's almost 3 hours or something, and the other one was maybe 2.5. The temporal physics there doesn't work in your favor.
JJ, do you know what owns the largest worldwide opening of all time?
Titanic?
Is
it something really old?
Here's a hint. No, it's not really old. It's within the last 2 years, and you'll want to pour one out after you find out.
Oh, Fast and the Furious?
Yep.
7 or 8?
Fate of the Furious 2017 has the largest worldwide opening of all time.
That's unfortunate.
540, but only 98 domestic.
Fast 8 is the worst one of the more recent ones. Well, at least, hey, I still like that series.
Rip.
Yeah, that domestic number is really low.
So Fast and the Furious is basically the soccer of the cinematic world.
Well, I can't believe that it's that low domestically, and then
it must have gotten like 80 billion plays in China or something.
Wow.
Cray.
So let's keep on the TV movie kick here for just a second and do a little plug. Star Trek.
Yeah.
We release those Star Trek things every Friday in the middle of the month, and 2 days after you hear this podcast, we're going to drop another one. Star Trek The Next Generation's famous episode, Darmok.
Yeah.
Ooh.
JJ and I decided to sit down and chat about it because we've both seen it many a time, it turns out.
Yep.
And we wanted to kind of contain discussion on a very particular incident and time and space, and kind of see where our thoughts went on the direction of that episode in front of and behind the camera, to kind of test our chops at... Well, we've done that before on this show. We talked about Stranger Things and a whole bunch of other TV, but really gonna whet our appetite on starting up some Discovery viewing here soon. So we thought, why not practice on some other Star Trek?
Yeah, the Discovery viewing will kick off. We're gonna do probably another one of those about episode 1 of season 1 of Discovery.
Yeah,
and we'll watch more of it after that.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. We'll keep the announcements here in the main pod and on the side pod for when those things come to pass. In the meantime, if people want to send their guesses, if they have different numbers than 279 million,
at podcast at We Were Gamers, an email list. We love hearing from people, so send us your guesses. We will refute them on air. No, but we will thank you for the email and read it out loud. They can also get at us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We Were Gamers in all of those places. They can and should go to the YouTube and subscribe to our channel.
I like
Very
it.
good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Mash that subscribe. Like those videos.
Yeah,
Mash
leave
it
us a
hard.
rating on your favorite podcast app.
It looks like I have in my Steam library already that Sega Mega Drive and Genesis Classics collection with like 70 games.
Well, I don't know what they're doing, man.
And it has Echo the Dolphin, which that... Anyway.
Oh, well, there you go. Now what
I
else
don't
do you
know.
need?
Yeah.
I have that Mega Drive and Genesis collection. The only game I have, Streets of Rage 2.
They, at one point in a long time ago, it looks like I got it in 2013, did a huge sale where like the whole thing was maybe $20, all the DLC. So
don't buy that thing, probably, is the answer there.
Oh, here. Okay, opening weekend record holders in a single territory, US and Canada, so that counts as domestic. And every time the record's broken, they put the year and the movie. So starting in 1975, it's Jaws at 7 million. Here, I'll put this in the chat. And then I know you got to go, JJ, but here's the info for you.
I need to know this.
Yeah.
And then 2018 Infinity War got 257. Before that, it was Force Awakens.
Wait, this is worldwide.
No, you scroll down and it breaks it down into territories.
Yeah, here we go.
Opening weekend record holders in a single territory is what you want. And then it's US and Canada.
Got it.
There we go.
Incredibles 2 doing a lot of money out there.
Oh, is that under a different number? Under a different thing?
Worldwide? Oh, no. It's higher than I expected it to be.
Where are you at?
It's number 11.
On what? Oh, biggest openings in a single territory. Yeah, that includes China. Right, that includes China too. Keep scrolling. Opening weekend record holders in a single territory.
I see. Got it.
Okay.
Yeah, because the biggest opening weekends in a single territory, you have to cut out. Because you got Infinity War at 1 and 8. You see that?
Right. Yeah.
Wrath of Khan, I see you there.
Where's that?
Hey, in 82, man.
82. Wrath of Khan.
Wow.
It went Superman 2, Wrath of Khan, and then Return of the Jedi.
Look at that. There's 2 Star Trek movies breaking records on
Temple
there.
Temple of Doom.
God, the world used to be awesome.
Last Crusade, man. Last Crusade, and then Ghostbusters 2.
This would make just for a great movie marathon list.
Holy cow. Every Which Way But Loose.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Look,
yeah, it's an.
No, I see it, but that's a random one to be on there.
Batman Forever though, and Batman Returns.
They were big deals when they came out.
I know.
Batman Returns is fun. I don't know about Batman Forever.
Yeah, I start to disagree a lot with this list. Right around 1993.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park's okay. So like that one deserves to be on there. 97, Lost World's really good, but maybe not. I don't know. I love
Sam Raimi Spider-Man was a big deal.
Yeah, I remember it being a big deal, but Spider-Man 3.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
Things have gone off the rails since then.
Dark Knight is on there, so that's a good one. Deathly Hallows, I don't know about that. Back. Avengers, Jurassic World was not as good as this makes it seem.
How did Beverly Hills Cop make this list?
Axel Foley was a big deal, man.
I know. I just am surprised at that. I love 1 and 2 of those movies. They're great movies. I just don't know how they made this list.
You got to think of the era too, right? Like that was when Eddie Murphy was Eddie Murphy.
I think I would have loved to have been alive in the era from 1979 to 1982, where Star Trek capped the list twice.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
All 3 of the original Indiana Jones being on there. Good, though.
Yeah,
no, the first one's not on there.
No, the first one hardly ever is going to be on here, right? Because it's like, oh my god, the second one's coming. Now we all have to go because the first one was so good. Except for, no, Star Trek doesn't count because everyone was like, oh my god, Star Trek's getting a movie. So really the only surprise would be Jaws. Because who would have thought Jaws was a thing people should go see?
Well, I'm a little surprised that Empire Strikes Back isn't on this list. You have Star Wars, the re-release, you have Return of the Jedi, but Empire didn't make the list.
That does surprise me.
I wonder if Empire got beaten out by like Star Trek or something because it came out in one of those years.
It was 80 though, wasn't it? Wasn't it every 77, 80, 83?
I really have no idea.
Yeah, but see, like the first Pirates isn't even on here. The first Nolan Batman's not on here. The first Harry Potter. Oh, the first Harry Potter is on here. No, it doesn't count though because the books were out first.
Right, the books had been out for a few years.
Just like Batman and Spider-Man didn't count, but Ghostbusters 1 isn't on here. Superman 1 isn't on here.
Batman original.
Yeah, because Tim Burton Batman. Tim Burton and Batman. Come on, everyone's going to go see that.
No, I know. It's just like, that's the only one that's an origin story, really. All right, I got to bounce.
Yeah.
All right, Ben.
Good stuff, guys.
You too.